Okay, good morning, everyone. My name is Scott Holden. I head up product marketing for both our main Sales Cloud application as well as our new application Chatter here at Salesforce.com. And it's a pleasure to be speaking with you this morning about Salesforce Chatter. We've been on the road now for the past few months talking with our customers and prospects about Chatter at various events around the world. And I'm excited to announce that today is our very first live webinar to walk you through the latest news and product developments of Chatter. So just to give you a quick update on terms of what we'll be covering today, I'm going to spend about 5 minutes just kind of giving you an overview of Chatter. Then we're going to show you a lengthy live product demonstration. And then we're going to give you an update on what's happening with our beta customers, as well as introduce you to one of our live beta customers who will walk you through what her experience has been so far using Chatter. So to get things started here, I have to tell you that Salesforce.com is a publicly traded company. So any buying decisions you make should be based on publicly available information and no forward-looking information. We are going to be talking about some functionality that's going to be coming out in the future. And if you want to read this in closer detail, you can find it on our public website. I also want to call out the fact that today's webinar will be recorded. So if you're looking for access to it after today's call, you can find it if you go to visit Salesforce.com. Okay, so for those of you who aren't familiar with Salesforce, for about the past 10 years, it's been our mission to be the cloud computing driver, catalyst, and evangelist in the marketplace. And so we have basically been pioneering this new world of enterprise cloud computing and hoping to rid companies of the burdens of traditional on-premise software and really introducing them to the fast, easy, and less expensive model of cloud computing. And really that started with applications moving to the cloud. And so many of you out there on the call today have probably used some of the applications out there in the cloud like Google Apps, like Intuit, maybe Workday, or Concur for expenses. And Salesforce obviously has our full suite of CRM applications for sales, marketing, and customer service. And so we started with applications with the simple premise of making business applications as easy to use as Amazon.com when we got started 10 years ago. And we've evolved to move beyond just applications and into platforms. And so we've got our own development platform now, which is called Force.com. And we've seen just in the past few years a number of other companies join us in this new realm of enterprise cloud computing platforms. And so Google App Engine, Amazon Web Services, even Microsoft with its Windows Azure has developed a platform for building cloud computing applications and tailoring your own custom applications in the cloud. But there's one more trend that we've seen happen just recently, and that's collaboration moving to the cloud. And that's really what we're here to talk about today with Salesforce Chatter. And so if you look at what's happened in terms of a trend over time, collaboration began back in the 80s with enterprise software like Lotus Notes and Novel GroupWise. Some of you may be familiar with those technologies. And it moved into the 2000s with technologies like SharePoint, Groove, and traditional intranets or file-sharing servers. And now what we're seeing is this whole new paradigm of collaborative computing. And it's really been being pioneered by a couple of key web companies that I'm sure all of you are familiar with, Facebook and Twitter, as well as some other companies out there like Cisco WebEx, IBM Lotus Live, and Citrix. And it's this new shift of collaboration that we're really excited about here at Salesforce and what we're going to spend the majority of the time talking about here today. And so as we look at this shift in enterprise cloud computing, what you're looking at in front of you here is our entire product strategy for delivering on what we call the real-time cloud. And you can see across the top here our core applications that we deliver to our customers, our Sales Cloud, which is our core Salesforce automation application, our Service Cloud, which is our next generation application for customer service, our Custom Cloud, which is any application that our customer chooses to build on our platform, and then, of course, our newest application, which we'll be talking about, which is Chatter. And underneath that, you see our entire architecture that's used to support these 4 cloud computing applications. And now let's talk more about Chatter. So when we got started with Salesforce Chatter, the first thing that came to mind when we looked at tackling this problem of traditional enterprise collaboration was that there's just so much going on today in our lives with all the different documents that we need to keep track of, all the different people that we work with, all the file systems and the shared drives and the portals and the intranets. There's just so much going on that it's impossible to stay on top of all the different changes and all the different projects that we all are working on every day. And I'm sure this image resonates with a lot of you here on the phone with us today. And so the problem with trying to keep track of all this different information is that what ends up happening is that we often miss out on critical things that we know to be effective at our jobs. And I'm sure a lot of you out there can relate to the fact that it's really frustrating to hear that that someone in your company knew a key decision maker on one of the deals that you're trying to close, but you don't find out about that relationship until after you've lost the deal. Or that your price list has changed inside your company after you sent the proposal to the customer. Or that you find out that a customer of yours is having a serious issue and wasn't getting it resolved in time, but you don't find out about it until after you've actually lost the customer. So these are all incredibly frustrating things that typically happen because there's just so much going on, and because traditional collaboration tools like Microsoft SharePoint and Lotus Notes, they make you, the user, they make all of us do all the work. We have to go track down all the information that we need in the various applications that we're using. We have to go find the people that we want to collaborate with. We have to keep track of the changes in the documents that we're working on. And so the onus is really on the user. And this is the problem that we set out to solve. And the place that we looked first, which we often do here at Salesforce.com, is to the consumer web. And we looked at Facebook because Facebook has really shown us a smarter way to collaborate. And for those of you who are out there on Facebook today, really what Facebook has done, and you can see here in this quote from The Economist, is they've really cracked the code on building easy-to-use collaboration tools. And so when you think about Facebook, they've really changed the game in the way we interact with our friends and family. And they've done that with some simple features like status updates, profiles, feeds, and filters. And this is a whole new paradigm for how we stay on top of what's important to us in our personal lives. And for those of you who are familiar with Facebook, the real benefit here to using it is that the insights, the things that you care about most about what's happening with your friends and family, they're all pushed to you, and they're pushed to you in real time. You don't have to go out and send an email to all your friends and family asking them what's happened in their lives to hope to get an update back. Instead, you choose who's important to you, you become friends with them, and the updates come to you in real time, so you can stay on top of what's important. And you can see here there's a good quote from Bob Iger here, from the CEO from the Walt Disney Corporation, who says that he learned more about his daughters from their Facebook pages than he did from raising them. And so, I think this is really just speaks to the power of how Facebook is changing our lives and making it easier for us to collaborate with friends and family. And so when we set out to build Chatter, we basically asked ourselves the simple question: what if enterprise collaboration worked like Facebook, but that it was private, it was secure, and it was trusted, and it was just for your internal company? And that's really what we're delivering with Salesforce Chatter. Real-time enterprise collaboration that's as easy to use as Facebook. It's for all the 400 million users that are out there using Facebook today. There's no manual. There's no training guide. You just log in, and instantly it just makes sense, and it's intuitive in terms of how it works. And what you get with Facebook is real-time updates, and you get that with Chatter as well. You choose the people in your company that you work with, the documents that you care about most that you want to see changes to, and the application data that's changing that you want to follow, and all of the updates to these different things are streamed to you in real time. So you can stay on top of all the critical things you need to know to do your business. And lastly, Salesforce Chatter is trusted. It's built on the same development platform, the same infrastructure of all of our core apps, and it's the reason why all of our 75,000 customers today choose Salesforce is for the trusted, secure infrastructure, and that also exists with Salesforce Chatter. And what you get with Chatter are a few core components here that I'll walk you through briefly, and then I'll show you a demonstration. And so with Chatter, you get a profile, you get a business profile where you can share expertise with everyone you're working on or working with. You can post your status to basically share what you're working on so that everyone knows. You can ask questions from people you work with. You can form groups instantly. You don't have to ask IT to set up a group for you to collaborate with. In just a couple of clicks, you can set up a group and collaborate on anything. You can share documents and track changes to your documents and collaborate in your real-time feeds. You get application updates that are streamed to you in real time, so you don't have to go search into an account record or go to a deal record to find out what's changed. Anytime a change happens, it's streamed to you in real time. And everything gets brought to you and funneled to you in your real-time feed, whether it's the people you're working with, the documents you care about, or the application data that you want to stay on top of. It all comes to you in one unified feed. And because this is a Salesforce application, the same security and sharing model that exists for all of our applications also exists for Chatter. So if you want to make groups private, if you want to control who has what access to various records, like the deals that you're working on or the accounts, you can set that up and control that using our sharing and security model. If you want to bring in outside information from other social networking sites like Facebook and Twitter and to enrich your experience inside Chatter, you can bring that information inside. Chatter is a private collaboration tool for inside your company, but if you want to enrich that with other information out there on the consumer web or anywhere outside on the web, you can do that with Chatter since our APIs are open. And lastly, any application that you go and build on the Force.com platform will automatically get the same collaborative features that you're looking at here with Chatter. All those features are also available on our App Exchange, where we've got over 800 applications now that our customers and partners have built for you to be able to deploy with your existing Salesforce applications. And so with that, I think I've given you enough of an introduction to Chatter, and now I want to show you a demonstration of the product in action. I'm going to switch over to our browser here. And what you're looking at in front of you is the Salesforce main Sales Cloud application. This is the application that so many of our customers use every day. And for those of you who are Salesforce customers and may not recognize this screen, the first thing I'll do is point out the fact that this screen here has recently been updated with a new user interface. It just happened a couple of months ago, and for some of you customers, you may not have turned it on yet, so they may look a little bit different. But hopefully a lot of the core components look the same. You can see here over on the top right-hand corner of the screen, we're in our sales application, but you can see all the other applications that Salesforce offers over on the top right. And you can also see some familiar things across the top of the screen for those of you who are customers, like your accounts to manage all of your customer information, your contacts, your opportunities, your deals that you're working on, as well as your core analytics that are represented here with your dashboards tab, and the content library that keeps track of all the documents and collateral that you're working on. What you'll also notice now with Chatter, there's a few new tabs across the top. There's a Profile tab, a People tab, and a Groups tab. And I'll talk about those a little bit more later on. And so what I want to first call out is the fact that this is our Sales Cloud application. And what I want to make really clear to all of the customers out there is that anyone who's purchased a Salesforce license from Salesforce in the past automatically gets Chatter included with any license that you buy. So whether you've purchased our sales application, the Sales Cloud, our service application in the Service Cloud, or you're building any custom applications, you get Chatter automatically included. And it will also be available as a standalone application later on this year. So in this demonstration, what we're going to walk you through is an example of a sales rep, Scott Thompson, which you can see here at the top of the screen, who's working for a company, Cisco. Cisco is a customer of ours here at Salesforce. And he's a traditional sales rep trying to stay on top of all of his customers and work his deals. And so since we're looking at the Sales Cloud application, which you can see in the middle of the page here, are some critical dashboard information, so we can see that the big deals that we're working on, the quota to date, as well as where we stand on the leaderboard. And you can see down below that we've got our tasks. We can see that we've got a big meeting coming up with one of our top customers, Green Dot Media. But as soon as I logged onto this page, one of the things that everyone probably on the call noticed first is that with Chatter, you now have a profile picture. So Scott Thompson, in this case, prior to Chatter, wouldn't have had a picture, and now you can really see how Chatter is bringing business applications to life by putting a picture inside the application. So when we click on our picture, we're going to be taken over to our profile page. And here you can see this is where we let everyone in our company know a little bit about ourselves. So we can tell people about where to contact us. We can write a little blurb about our expertise. And here in the middle of the screen is where we can post our status and tell people what we're working on. So in this case, we may be looking for a new media reference. Since we're working on this deal that's coming up with Green Dot Media, we may be looking for a new media reference. We can ask everyone who's out there following us inside of our application who might be able to jump in and help. And we can see over here on the right-hand side of the screen, everyone who's following us. These are our followers, so that anytime we make an update in the application, everyone who's following us will automatically receive that update. And then below that, we can also see who we're following. And so if I zoom in here, we're following people. So anytime they make an update inside the application, we're going to see that. But what you'll also see right below that is that with Chatter, you can not only just follow people, you can also follow your core business documents and information you care about. And so we can see that right at the top of the screen. We can also follow our top deals. We can follow our accounts represented by the folder icon here. We can follow cases that we care about. And we can follow presentations like the latest corporate sales presentation or the latest pricing proposal. We can even follow updates to outside applications or third-party applications like our finance system here in the case of Oracle. So we're tracking an invoice from one of our customers. And all of this information that we're following, anytime a change happens, it's manifested back on the home page. And so if we go to the home page, this is where all of our real-time updates come to us. And you can see here at the top of the screen, we can say Show Chatter. And this is our real-time feed. This is where everything that we've chosen to follow over on the profile page shows up and lets us know what's happening. And so as we look down the page here, we can see things like one of our colleagues, Nicole Moore, she's going to Atlanta next week, and she's asking if there's any prospects she can meet with. And you can see some of the other people inside of our company are collaborating here, telling her that they can help out and point her in the right direction. We can also see updates on price list. So this is a document, particularly in this case, since we're a sales rep working here at Cisco, we want to know as soon as that price list changes. And so you can see here that the price list has been updated. You find out about that in real time in your feed, and you can see others jumping in to comment about the things they'd like to see happen with that price list. And then it's not just people and documents, it's also application data. So as we scroll down the page a little bit further, you can see that we're tracking our top customer cases. And so, in this case, this is one of our customers that's had a case open. It's been escalated to critical. And this is something we want to stay on top of, especially if we might be asking for some new business going forward. And you can see here that other people inside of our company have jumped in to help solve this case. And Amy Argenta here says that she's working on it and is hoping to have it resolved in the next 15 minutes. I mentioned before the fact that you can bring in application data from third-party applications as well. So you can see here that this Oracle invoice is now 30 days past due. This is something that you want to know about if you're working with a customer and they've got an invoice outstanding. You want to know about this. You want to know about this before you lose that customer. And lastly, the thing that every sales rep cares about most is tracking their top deals. And if we look at the bottom of the screen here, we can see that we've just had an update come through on one of our top deals, this Green Dot Media deal that we've got a meeting coming up with next week. And we can see that a competitor has been added to this opportunity. And so, as a sales rep, this is something that's pretty concerning if we've got a new competitor that's entered the scene. And so right from the feed, we can actually drill into that opportunity record and find out a little bit more about what's happening. And so as we click on the opportunity page, this is the core page that every sales user uses to track their different deal information. And so as a sales user, you can see the different products we're selling here, who's on the sales team. We can track our approvals. We can generate quotes. We've got content that we're using to track on what's happening in this deal. But now what's happening with Chatter is that every record inside Salesforce, like an opportunity in this case, or like an account or a case or a contact, now has its own Chatter feed. And you can choose to follow this opportunity here. And when I expand Chatter, what you'll see is we now have our own Chatter feed that's associated just with this deal. So what this serves as is really, this deal now has its own private collaboration space where everyone who's chosen to follow this deal can do so and collaborate in real time on what's happening. And so we can see here in this first post where the competitor has been added, but we can also see some real collaboration start to take place in the form of someone here, our colleague Jake, has posted an agenda for the upcoming meeting with Green Dot Media. And so we can see here, traditionally, for those of you who are out there, you can see actually just had a post come in real time from Matt Buchanan about what's happening and collaborating on this agenda. And traditionally, for those of you who are probably familiar with, any time you're going to have a sales meeting, the agenda is something that people typically collaborate on. And today, they typically do it over email. This is something that you send back and forth, and it creates a lot of headaches because, who has the latest agenda, who can present at what time. This goes back and forth. You never know where the latest version is, and it's really a bit of a mess to manage over email. Well, now you can upload this agenda right here in context on the deal, and you can see people collaborating, and there's a permanent record of all the collaboration that's happening on making sure that everyone has the proper time associated with when they can present. And we can see this post that just came in here from Matt Buchanan, and Matt's saying, Matt may be across the country. He could have done this on his iPhone. Anywhere he was, he could have updated his Chatter feed here, and he's saying he'd like to add 30 minutes to cover competition, which isn't critical since we know we just had a new competitor out of this deal. And what Matt is pointing out also here, if we zoom in a little bit, you can see that Matt's also telling everyone to go check out the competitive group page for some new information. And so that's going to be something that's really useful for us as we're trying to get ready for our meeting next week with our prospect, Green Dot Media. And so one of the things that's also new that I mentioned earlier is the fact that there's now groups available with Chatter. And so we're now in the Groups tab, and Groups is a place where you can collaborate on anything inside your company. You can collaborate on something like a competitive intelligence group, but you could also collaborate on something like customer references. You could collaborate on just your sales team. Any project, anything that you want to collaborate on, you can set up a group in just a couple of minutes and invite anyone you want to collaborate with you in real time. And so let's jump into this competitive intelligence group. And when we're here on the group page, you'll see over on the right the different members who are following this group so that anytime something happens here, they'll get alerted. You can also see that someone from marketing, our colleague here, Sarah Adams, has posted a new presentation. She's posted a presentation, a new competitive deck, and you can see here some people have jumped in to collaborate on it. And so the beauty of Chatter is that it's integrated with all of our existing sales, service, and custom applications. And so one of the key components that you get with any application from Salesforce is a content library. And we're going to jump over and view this piece of collateral, we could view it here in the feed, take a quick look at it. We can flip through the slides here in the feed. We're going to go take a look at it over in the integrated content library. And when we click over to the content library, we're going to see how there's a lot more collaboration happening around this presentation. Again, we could flip through it right in the line here without ever having to download anything to our desktop. But we can also see comments from other people that are looking at this document and the version history. And here we could clone and customize this presentation and tailor it for ourselves. Or when we get it just the way we want it, we can go back and attach it to the deal that we're working on. And so if we click back to the opportunity now, and we expand the Chatter feed, we could take that presentation and add it to the deal here, so that everyone who's working on the deal has access to it going forward. And so I'm going to attach this file here. I'm going to choose it from the content library. We got that new presentation just the way we want it. I'm going to attach it to the record. And as soon as I do that, everyone who I'm working with will automatically see the latest presentation that we've got ready for tomorrow's or for next week's meeting. And so now that we've got the presentation ready, we've got a little bit more intelligence that we've gathered on the competition. We now want to send that agenda out to the customer. And typically this is something that we'd, again, send out over email. But what you can do with Chatter is you can actually deliver the agenda out over the web. And I want to show you how that would work. So if we want to deliver this, we can actually deliver the agenda not as an attachment, but as a private URL for our customer to look at. So I'm going to press the Deliver button here. We're going to be walked through a quick wizard. We click Done. And now if we expand the Chatter feed, you can see here that we've actually created a delivery. We've basically sent this agenda out to our prospect, and we've delivered it as a private URL. And when we do that, I want to show you what that looks like from the customer's perspective. And so if we go over to our prospect's email to give you a sense of how that looks, you can see here that we've sent them an email from Cisco, the company we're working from. You can see that we've got some branding put in here at the top of the screen. And as soon as our prospect clicks on this agenda here, this link, this is going to take the prospect to a private website. And as soon as they click on that, they're going to get access to the agenda. They can see it right here online. But what's really powerful about this is because this is a cloud solution, if we go back to the deal now, you're going to see that not only did we deliver this content, but everyone who's following this deal can see that our prospect has actually viewed it. They've actually viewed we can actually see that the prospect has opened the agenda, that they've received the thing that we sent them. And this is really powerful in terms of knowing when to make that follow-up call. And so that's a quick scenario of how Chatter can be integrated with the Sales Cloud to make you more effective and to make everyone in your company a little bit more collaborative around bringing your deals to closure. But the last thing I want to show you about Chatter is that not only can you access it through your browser, but you can also access it on your mobile device. So I'm going to bring up an iPhone right now. This is a simulator for the iPhone using Salesforce Chatter. And you can see here we've got Salesforce loaded up here on the iPhone. And we click on it. We're going to just put in our security password. And right away, we're brought to the main page for accessing all of our information with Salesforce Chatter on the mobile device. And so you can see here we've got access to all the information you saw in the tabs across the top, things like your contacts, your accounts, your opportunities, the cases you're working on, all the content you have stored, as well as your dashboard, your analytics. And so if we drill into one of our opportunities here, let's go take a look at that Green Dot Media deal that we were working. You can see we've got access to all the same deals here on the iPhone. And if we click into that deal, you can see the same information that we were looking at previously on the deal page. You can see some basic information about the stage and the probability, the amount of the deal, the competitor. But what you can also see is that every record, as I mentioned before, has its own feed. And so if we expand the opportunity feed here, you can see that exact same information that we were looking at before in the feed in our browser is also available on the iPhone. And so all that same information is trackable no matter where you are. You can make sure you have your real-time feeds. So that's a quick demonstration of how Chatter makes the Sales Cloud even more collaborative and can help salespeople be more effective in terms of working with other people inside their company. And with that, I'm going to jump back over to slides now, and I'm going to turn it over to my colleague, Robin Daniels, who's going to give you a little bit of an update on what's happening with our beta customers, as well as do a quick customer interview to tell you about how they're experiencing Salesforce Chatter. Okay, Robin, over to you.
Perfect. Thanks, Scott. My name is Robin Daniels, and I've been with Salesforce for about 3 years now, and I'm responsible for Chatter product marketing. What I want to spend 5 minutes on is just telling you a little bit about how the beta program has been going. So in 2009, we announced Chatter at our Dreamforce event in November. And then 3 months later, we went live with the beta program, and we announced we had 100 customers live in the beta program on February 17th. Just 2 months later, last week, we announced that we now had more than 500 customers live with Chatter. Some big brand names, a lot of early adopters, leading-edge companies who really have seen the potential of Chatter and want to take advantage of this powerful new tool that you just had Scott show you. The feedback we've gotten from Chatter so far has been incredible. The customers who have been turned on for Chatter are really seeing a phenomenal shift in how they're using Salesforce and how their users are using Salesforce every single day. You can see here Dominic Shine saying Chatter is a killer app, Advent saying it's revolutionary, Croc saying it's amazing, and Terrace saying it's a game changer. These are words you don't normally associate with enterprise apps, but Chatter really has the potential to go in and change how you perceive enterprise apps, how you perceive Salesforce, and how you use the application every single day. So last week we had an event in Boston, and Terraces went on stage and spoke a little bit about how they were using Chatter to really change the game internally at Terraces. They're one of our larger beta customers with about 850 users, and what they've done is they've turned on Chatter instantly overnight. They didn't go through any training. They didn't have to go through an extensive rollout. They just basically had the CIO turn on Chatter, and when the users logged in the next day, they suddenly saw that they had a profile. They saw that they had the ability to follow accounts and customer cases. And what it's done now in just a few weeks for Terraces, it's improved team selling between their sales, service, and product teams. And it really has allowed their execs to follow the top deals to ensure that the right resources are always available to close those deals. And this is the same with customer cases. The top execs are always following the top cases. So if something gets escalated to critical, they can shift around resources appropriately. Ultimately, what Chatter has done for Terraces is really give them visibility into what is going on in real time in their company at any given point in time. Now, Terraces is also interesting because they have a customized application called their Service Desk, which has become instantly Chatterized. It's one of the beauties of the Force.com platform. Because every single application built on that platform now inherits the social and collaborative features of Chatter, any single application built on the platform instantly gets those Chatter features. So Terraces have built more than 10 applications, and they instantly become Chatterized the moment you turn on Chatter. So Terraces, being one of the largest security vendors in the world, has really seen a dramatic game change in their company since turning it on. The other company I just wanted to highlight is a company called Rewards Network. And Rewards Network is a loyalty program provider in the United States, and they have clients that include United Mileage, American Airlines Advantage, Delta SkyMiles, and a lot more big brand name companies. So they've managed those loyalty programs for those customers. Now, Rewards Network is interesting because they are now wall-to-wall Chatter with all their users. They saw the potential of Chatter and decided, you know what, Chatter is not just for our salespeople or our customer service people. This is really a powerful tool for everyone in the company to collaborate in a single space. So they've rebranded their application to called MyDine because their stock ticker symbol is called Dine, and they wanted to of course, bring that personality in. Their intranet was stale, out of date, but they said, you know what, with Chatter, the information is always fresh, it's always up to date, and it's personalized for each user. They can choose what to follow, who to follow, which cases, documents, objects, and so on. So now Salesforce has become a lot more relevant and a lot more fun for all of those users, and every single person at Rewards Network now has a Salesforce login because it's kind of replacing their intranet slowly because this is the place to go to stay in touch and stay on top of what's important. Now, I've also been going around collecting some of these Chatter tweets that are going on in the Twitter sphere, and we're hearing things about Chatter that you don't normally hear about enterprise applications. Like, I love it. It's mind-blowing. It's just crazy cool. I've got hundreds of these tweets because what we're hearing from our users, it really changes how you use the application every single day. Because instead of just logging in and then logging out once you've done your task, users, the first thing they do in the morning when they come into their office, they log into Salesforce because they want to stay on top of their Chatter feed. They want to see what their colleagues are working on, what's happening with their deals and their cases, and it just really revolutionizes the user experience. But it's not just users who are raving about Chatter. Even the industry sees the potential of Chatter. So you can see here IDC saying it will be the application that forces a cultural change in a lot of companies. Forbes saying it could be a salesperson's dream. And Saugatuck Technologies say, this really threatens the stale, outdated ways of building intranets and applications like SharePoint because this is a much more dynamic environment. And Brian Green Consultancy, which is a cloud computing consultant company, says, this is what Chatter is really all about. It's going to be disruptive, but every person's going to need this, and every company is going to need this to stay competitive. So there's a lot of potential for Chatter. There's a lot of excitement for it out there. And this is only the beta version. The Chatter will go into general availability later this year. So that gives you just a quick overview of some of the excitement about Chatter out there. And just to reiterate what Scott said earlier, Chatter is included for all Salesforce.com customers. So if you're using Salesforce for sales or for service or for custom apps using the Force.com platform, if you have any licenses with Salesforce, you will get Chatter as part of that license. You don't have to pay anything extra. And Chatter will be available later this year in 2010. So with that said, just give you a quick overview of what's been going on with Chatter. I want to now also introduce Katrina Bentley. And Katrina Bentley is Director of CRM for BCD Travel. And she's been with BCD Travel since 2006. But she's actually been using Salesforce for nearly 10 years, since 2001. So she's a long-standing user of Salesforce. So she has intimate knowledge of the power of the system. And she's also actively involved in the user community down in the southeast region because she actually lives in Atlanta, Georgia. And for those of you who don't know BCD Travel, they are the third largest corporate travel company in the world with offices in more than 93 countries. So, Katrina, welcome to our call today. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, Robin. It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you for having me.
Oh, absolutely. So what do you think about Chatter so far?
Oh, I think it is. I think revolutionize is the key word, even within our organization. Our Chatter feeds, that's been a key word, revolutionize, as well as very cool.
That's great. I love to hear it. How are you currently using Chatter? Any specific use cases that you've seen?
Well, we had quite a few cases in which that we use Chatter. We use it to track our opportunities, much like your earlier presentation, with our executives being able to have information pushed to them has been just amazing. That has always been a pain point for our executives, where they'd have to go ask for information or call and get information or send emails. And now this was revolutionary for us. And we have a couple of custom applications that I will show you in a little bit, that it also has helped us to be able to communicate changes and without having to send the email. I don't know about with other companies, but within our company, receiving hundreds of emails a day is not unusual. And so we are really trying to find a way to cut back on that, as well as to drive adoption of the Salesforce.com tool.
That's great to hear. I mean, I think we're all kind of tired of email overload. Email, of course, is still great for certain things, but there's a lot of times when email is just not cutting it anymore, especially in a collaborative environment. So that's great to hear. Final question, because I'm really excited about seeing how you're using Chatter. So what have you learned so far from your Chatter experience?
One thing I've learned is that I was I must admit, a little bit hesitant to launch this out to our user community without any training. But then I just thought about it and thought, well, it's like Facebook. And much like you guys said, there wasn't training manual provided when people sign up for Facebook or LinkedIn or any of those. So that was really my biggest hesitation. And the lesson learned is that I didn't need to send out training. People got it right away, and they were just so ecstatic, and we got many kudos for launching this. So thanks to Salesforce.com for making us look like superstars.
Well, I'm really excited to hear that. Let me hand over control to you, because I know you're going to just show us how you're actually using Chatter in your company, because I can't wait to see that. I bet the rest of the people on the call can't wait to see that either. So the floor is yours, Katrina. Thank you.
All right.
Just click the show screen, and you should be good to go.
All right.
Perfect.
Now we can see there. Okay. So this is my home tab, much like we had shown earlier. And so I have the ability to hide my Chatter and just look at our information. But I tend to leave my Chatter open now, which I didn't really think I would do, but that's what I do. And in a couple of instances, just to show you, one thing that happened with me was that I was able to connect people. We are a global company, so we may interact with each other through email, or we may not even know what other people do. And that's kind of what happened with me and this person, Jeremy, located in South Africa. And as you can see here, he tells us that he was really trying to get his head around Omni, and he is just so excited about Chatter, which then led a communication between him and Mercedes, who is in Buenos Aires. And they basically have much of the same role, but didn't ever meet up with each other. So it was very nice to see them communicate now, and it produced an actual opportunity yesterday for our business with a potential client. So it has changed the way we do business.
So you're saying these two people have never met, but now they're connecting through Chatter.
Exactly. Never met,
right.
And now they're connecting, and they share a lot of the same issues or the same type of clients. So it was wonderful.
I see a lot of posts. I see a lot of posts on this page, but they don't look to be from people. They're from accounts. Is that right?
That's correct. So, which is wonderful. So now we know when things are updated within particular account records or within opportunity records or even within cases. I can't say enough about it, and I'm so grateful. But I got to say the one thing that we have created. So we mentioned about having a custom app. We have courses that we've created, and there's all different types of courses. And so now we can actually push out to our whole user community. This is the way people register for training or for webinars, those types of things. And they do it through, and we've brand named it Salesforce.com Omni. Sorry, so for people who see that as unusual, that's what that is. So they would come in here, and now when we change the course status to confirmed or maybe canceled or whatever the situation may be, now everyone who's registered gets updated, and they followed that course, and now they know right away, which has really helped us to be very great with webinars. Sometimes you experience those technical difficulties. So we just can chatter about it now to that user group that had registered, and now they're made aware right away.
That's great. So basically, instead of spamming people or the company with email, you can go in and subscribe to a course, and if something changes with that course, you'll get notified instantly in your Chatter feed.
Exactly.
That's great.
And even though we didn't do training for the user community, as a administrator or as my team, we didn't receive training either because it is very intuitive. And I just wanted to share, if it's okay, real quick,
Sure.
how easy it is.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's see it.
So I just went over to feed tracking under Chatter, and that courses tab that I had just shown you. I would just come down to courses to get to it. And from here, I can say what it is that I want people to be notified on or what I want to have tracking. So in here I would say, maybe the training type, but a big one for us is the course subject and status. So it's just so simple, and I save, and now all of those is what selections is what will drive information out to the user.
So basically, you're showing your custom apps you've built here. I can see that all the objects are basically either the standard objects or custom objects, and just by point and click, you go in and enable Chatter on the different objects and the different fields within an object without any coding or anything?
Correct. It's wonderful. Yep.
Okay, so how long did it take you then to set up the Chatter for your company?
Maybe 5 minutes.
Okay.
It really wasn't that hard. Now, we will go back in, and we're kind of just, baby steps, and as people grow in use of it and become more comfortable with it, then we'll add more feed tracking within other objects. But, yeah, it was very, very intuitive.
Well, that's great. I mean, this looks phenomenal. Thanks so much for showing us your app, Katrina. I really appreciate that. And thanks so much. I'm going to take control back just to walk through how everyone on this call can get into the Chatter beta program. But thanks so much for showing us your app. Really, that was a phenomenal demonstration, and just shows the power of Chatter and how easy it was to set up for you. So again, thank you.
You're welcome.
Go back. Okay. Perfect. So just to wrap up the call, because we're just about out of time. The Chatter beta program is still open. So we announced last week that we have about 500 customers now live in the beta program. We're still taking more nominations. So if you have been excited about what you've seen and heard today, please join the beta program if you're a Salesforce customer. All you have to do is send an email to iwantchatter@salesforce.com, and this is for customers only right now. If you're not a customer with Salesforce yet, please go to salesforce.com/chatter and find more information about the Chatter itself, how it's going to impact your company. And in the summer timeframe, we will have a trial version of Chatter available for you to try out. You can also become a fan of Chatter on Facebook, where you can get all the latest news and you can interact with other beta users out there and hear about their experiences and share information and share kind of your thoughts on Chatter as well. So what's next in the Chatter webinar series? Well, so this is actually the first webinar in a series of webinars we're doing about Chatter. So we're going to be holding several different webinars during the next couple of months, all about Chatter, but Chatter with a different focus. So the next webinar is going to be Next Generation Customer Service with Chatter and the Service Cloud. So it's really about how Chatter makes the Service Cloud from Salesforce even better. If you want to reach out to your customers, if you want to provide phenomenal customer support and an experience to your end users, you really need to know how Chatter impacts your customer service experience. So the next webinar is going to be all about that. In mid-May, we're going to have two more webinars. One of them is going to be about building social and collaborative apps with Chatter and the Force.com platform. And in late May, we're going to also talk a little bit about how Salesforce uses Chatter internally, because we turned it on for ourselves about 2 months ago, and it's really revolutionized our company. Mark Benioff in New York last week at our big event there said that he has learned more about his company in the last 2 months than he has in the last 3 years before he had Chatter. So it really just allows you to find out things you never knew existed before, just like what Katrina showed. So it really is phenomenal. So with that said, we're going to end the call now. I want to open up for Q&A and see if there are any questions out there that we haven't answered so far.
So I've got a couple of questions. This is Scott again that I'll take here and address. We've got one question about whether Chatter is available on the BlackBerry and Droid apps as well as the iPhone. And so right now, Chatter is available on both the BlackBerry and the iPhone. It's obviously available on any browser that you could find on your web devices too. But we've got a client available on the BlackBerry and the iPhone, and we're looking into other platforms, but those are the two that we've targeted to start. Another question that I've got here is the Chatter application different than the Salesforce iPhone application? And the answer there is no. We have a Salesforce mobile application that includes all of the core functionality that you have inside your browser. So if you purchased our sales application, which has accounts and contacts and leads, you'd get that as well as all the Chatter functionality included in one single application. The next question that I've got here is, are customer portal users going to have any elements of Chatter made available to them? And right now, Chatter is not available in our customer portal, but that is obviously something that we're looking into. There's a lot of great community aspects to this Chatter technology, and we're currently evaluating how we could roll that out into our portal users, so stay tuned there. The next question I have is, so if I already have Salesforce account, I will not be charged any additional money. And so, this is something that we definitely want to highlight here. If you are an existing Salesforce user or have purchased any licenses from Salesforce, whether that's for sales, for service, or have built or purchased our platform for building custom applications, you are not charged any additional money. Salesforce Chatter is included with all of our existing applications. And sometime later in 2010, there will be a standalone Chatter application available as well. And then I think the last question I have here is, did Katrina announce that Chatter was going to be launched within her company, or was there no training? And so I guess, Katrina, I can kick that over to you. Was there any training that you did? How did you get started with everybody using Chatter?
No, there wasn't any training. We sent out a couple of tips and things like that. We will schedule training later on next month, not so much on how to use the tool, because I think that they're all pretty familiar with that, but to how to use it in conjunction with our content library and those types of things. So no training was launched at that launch. I'm sorry.
Okay. Well, I mean, the one thing I'll say here is that, Robin and I have been working with a number of our 500 beta customers just in terms of getting them up and running. And really what the basic thing that we've seen happen is, whoever's the administrator or an executive inside the company has just sent an email saying, hello, everyone, we're about to turn on a new feature inside Salesforce called Chatter. It's basically has these components. You can post status updates and get, real-time alerts to what's happening with your application data and documents. And so just heads up, that's coming. It's similar to the same features that you see in Facebook. Keep it business related and take it from there. And generally with, a paragraph email, that's all the training that any of our customers have needed. And as Robin mentioned, the uptake has just been incredible in terms of, as soon as people see it, they figure out how to upload their profile picture, they figure out how to post their status, and they start, tracking their application data and collaborating around that data. So a couple of more questions that have come up that I want to take the chance to address. People have been asking, when is the product going to be generally available? And the answer there is, right now, all I can tell you is it's going to be later this year, 2010. So, we're almost halfway through the year, so sometime in the next 6 months. The other questions that we've gotten are around security. And so, the first thing I'll just call out is that Chatter is a private collaboration tool. Oftentimes, people have asked us questions about social media, and if I post my status in Chatter, are people outside on the web going to see it? And the answer there is no. This is something that's an internal application for collaborating with people inside your company. Any comments or status updates or application updates that you have in Chatter are only going to be available to the people inside your company and not accessible to anyone on the public web. And as far as security goes, this is something at Salesforce that we take incredibly seriously, and we pride ourselves on making sure that we have state-of-the-art security so that all of our customer data, all the 75,000 customers that we have, all of their data remains safe. And so, some of the world's largest companies today are trusting Salesforce with their application data. And so the same security model that we have with all of our applications is also inherited with Chatter. Another question here is about, how you can get access to the beta program. And so I'll repeat that email address. If you're an existing Salesforce customer and you want to get into our beta program, please send us an email to iwantchatter@salesforce.com. And that email address is, again, iwantchatter@salesforce.com. Let's see if there's any other questions here. A lot of you have been asking questions, and we've got a few people working the lines here, but I apologize if we haven't been able to get to all of you.
Yeah, this is Robin. I just want to repeat that the Chatter mobile client is available on iPhone and on BlackBerry today, and it will also be available when the product goes GA later this year. And we're also working on an Android client that will be coming out later this year as well.
So there's been a question here about how could my colleagues who do not have access to Salesforce add to the collaborative effort within the organization, or is this collaboration only between current users or seats? And so right now, the Chatter is available to anyone who's purchased a license, or will be available generally to any Salesforce license user. Or if you get in the beta program, it'll be available to anyone who has a license of Salesforce. And then we're looking into ways to expand the collaboration effort to other people inside your company. We really view Salesforce Chatter as an enterprise-wide application. Our vision for this product is to get it in the hands of everyone inside your company and to try and do that in as inexpensive way as possible. And so we're looking at Chatter-only licenses, and I just encourage you to stay tuned for more updates around licenses like that in the future. We got a question about linking to SharePoint, and so one of the traditional collaboration tools that a lot of our customers are using in the marketplace out there today is something called Microsoft SharePoint, and this is a traditional on-premise application that requires hardware and software, and it's an application for certain purposes. Works pretty well, and what I want to say there is that any application that you're using can be integrated with Chatter. The Salesforce API is very open. It's easy to plug in any kind of application updates or data into Salesforce. So, for instance, if you were using SharePoint and you wanted to have updates to documents streamed into your Chatter feed, use your sort of Chatter feed as your one place of all that information changing, you could definitely do that. And so, Chatter, we realize that Chatter is not going to be maybe the be-all, end-all collaboration tool for all of you. We think it's certainly the easiest to use and has the broadest reach. But for those of you who still want to use other tools out there, you can certainly have them integrate inside of Chatter. Another question was, can you pull in Facebook and tweets into Chatter? And again, that's something that you can definitely do. Similar to being able to pull in third-party application data, you can also pull in information that's out there on the public web, like things from Facebook and Twitter. And I'd encourage you to go to our website. Probably the best demonstrations of that are with our Service Cloud product. So if you go to www.salesforce/servicecloud, you can see some great videos of how we're pulling in, Facebook questions that are happening on fan pages and tweets about customer service issues. All of that information can be pulled inside of Salesforce and manifested within the Chatter feed as well. So let me see if we've got a couple of other questions here. Before I answer any more questions, I just want to call out the fact that this presentation will be recorded and posted on the website, so the same web page where you went and registered. If you check back, you'll be able to find the recording later if you want to watch this re-recorded or get access to any of these questions that you may have missed. Another question I see here that's come through is, will I be able to collaborate with my customers and external partners? And so one of the things that Salesforce has because of our cloud computing model is the ability to share information back and forth with other Salesforce customers. So if you're collaborating with a partner, or if you want to collaborate with a partner who's also using Salesforce, you can actually send updates back and forth, whether you're working on a deal together and you want to collaborate on an opportunity, you can actually share that opportunity record. And when one Salesforce customer makes an update to the record, the other Salesforce customer will see it. It's kind of like a private tunnel between Salesforce customers. And the interesting thing there is that if you're both sharing a record, that any changes you make to that will also show up inside your Chatter feed. So that's one way in which Chatter is helping collaboration between partners. And then it looks like a couple last questions here. It looks like we've got a couple more before we're going to end the call here. I just want to reiterate the pricing and packaging. So currently, all Salesforce customers are going to get Chatter at no additional charge when the product becomes generally available later this year. We're looking for that in the next 6 months or so. So again, no additional charge for existing customers. And then I just ask you to stay tuned for any kind of Chatter-only license that we may come out with in the near term, because that's something we're looking into. And then the last question here is, can you keep feeds private? And so the one thing I'll say here is that if you turn on a feed on an opportunity record or on an account record, when you do that inside Salesforce, you can obviously, as Katrina showed, you can control which objects or which data has a Chatter feed available to it. But once you turn it on for something like opportunities, all of your opportunity records will then have a Chatter feed. You can't just choose a couple of opportunity records to have Chatter and a couple not to. It's basically controlled at the object level. But what I will say there is that if Salesforce has a very powerful security and sharing model, and so for any of you out there that want to set up sharing rules so that only certain people can see opportunities, let's say if you're a salesperson and you only want to have access to your own opportunities, or if you only want to have access to the accounts in your territory, you can set up those rules, and the feed data will honor those rules. So if I don't have access to an account, I won't be able to see any of the Chatter feeds or the posts that happen to that account in my feed. And I hope that's clear, and that there's a lot of granular privacy that's built into Salesforce Chatter because it's built on the Salesforce platform, and that's something that we've been working on for the last 10 years now with our other applications. The last thing I'll say there is that in the groups feature, there's going to be the ability to create private and public groups. And so not all the groups could be publicly available. So if you want to create a private group for sensitive information, you'll be able to do that as well. And then the last question here I've got before we wrap the call is, are the feeds stored in the app or do they expire? And so the thing I'll point out there is that Salesforce makes sure that we keep all of your data available. There's no deleting of feeds. Everything is stored and kept in the application for your records. So there's no need to worry about things falling off your feed and losing them forever. Everything is tracked, and there's no implications on your data in that way. So I think that's it for today's call. I just want to thank you all again for joining us. This is an incredibly exciting application for Salesforce. You've heard from our customers. The adoption of this technology and the way it's changing the way our customers use all of our existing applications is incredibly exciting. Once again, this presentation has been recorded if you want to access it again later. And I just want to point out that we'll be doing a webinar like this every 2 weeks for the next few months. So please tune in if you want to learn more about other functionality and how Salesforce is changing our other applications. Our next webinar is on April 27th. It'll be all about the Service Cloud and how Chatter makes customer service more collaborative and more effective. And so I tell you to tune in for that, again, April 27th in 2 weeks' time. And then every 2 weeks thereafter, we'll be having another webinar just to show you how Chatter is really changing the game for all of our applications and for the collaboration market as a whole. So with that, I'm going to sign off. Thanks again for joining us. It was great chatting with you all, and thanks for your good questions. Katrina, thank you. It was great to see your application demonstrated to everyone, and I'm sure everyone got a lot of value from that. So thank you again, and have a great day.